Emilio Sanchez. We're sitting here in Seefeld during the conference, and I have a couple of questions, a little bit regarding to what you have talked about during these days, and a little other stuff as well. First of all, your own playing career. What would you say was the biggest reasons to your own success as a player, if you could pick 2 or 3 maybe?
Well, I suppose that the hard work, I think the dream, to fulfill the dream that you had as a kid, and to be very hungry, and to wanted to have a future, you know, like to have this drive to doing what you love, being able to live from it is so lucky compared to other people. And I always enjoy so much all my journey in the tennis, and that's, I suppose, why after playing I kept being in the tennis world, and I try to bring what I learned in my tennis career that finishes so short, bring it back to other people and give opportunities to other people.
Okay. Would you say we talked a little bit about that during your when you were speaking yesterday, but is it important that the players are like hungry when they're young? Because in Sweden we talk a lot about that the kids has a they doesn't have a so bad situation overall. Like maybe the motivation is a little bit lower today than before, or in other countries.
Yeah, it's all about the same. It's being hungry, motivation, being more wild, or to have a bigger teeth, you know, like the teeth, like you, at the end, if you were in the middle of the jungle and you needed to survive, and then you will be better hunter than if you are sitting on this nice hotel or somewhere like that, you know. So learning to come out from those situations, I think that drive, that fire that you have inside, that you wanted to do something, is what makes you hungry to arrive. It's not about being hungry by itself, is being hungry to succeed, it's about being hungry to don't lose, it's about being hungry to fight as much as you can, to put the last ball in, you know, like it's a philosophy concept.
Okay, and if the players you're coaching, if they doesn't have that hunger, can you create that in some way as a coach?
It's something that some of the attitude you can learn. But the intrinsic part of the last step is something that I think you have it inside.
Okay.
And
born with.
Yeah, or have it inside. You can improve it, and you can develop it, and you can move on. But if it's a habit at the end.
Yeah.
So if you are used to get everything without effort, so when you have to make the biggest effort in the match, it's going to be very difficult that you show that.
Okay, I understand.
But if you work for what you have, and you are humble, and you value everything that you have, and even if you have it granted or for free or without the work, but you understand it and you value it, and then you can still have that drive. Like the biggest fighter in the tour is Rafa, and he's not that he comes from a very humble family or poor family. It's like this. They come from a proper level family, and he's like he Pegula, and there's a lot of players who are
quite wealthy.
Quite wealthy, and they had everything, but they have this incredible inner drive.
Anyway, if we talk about Nadal, that was retiring this year.
It's okay with the noise?
We have the microphone, I think it's okay. If we talk about Nadal, except his motivation and his fighting spirit, what would you say was the biggest keys to his success when he was like maybe becoming this great player?
Well, I think on top of that, he always wanted to be better, and he always wanted to improve. And he always understood that everything that he saw around that will make him a tougher and more smart competitor, he will just grab into it, and he will not give up anything. So like it's like he will be so much afraid of losing. Oh, no, it's not the right word. It's not afraid of losing. He will hate so much losing that he will not give you one shot in one point, even if you are beating him 40 love.
Yeah.
Because he will fight for that point to make you think that it's gonna be so tough to beat him.
Yeah. And
because some players sometimes
did he
like-
learn that, like, or does that come from
Well,
inside from the beginning?
Well, he has some I believe, I don't know him when he was so young, but I think that he had this amazing character to be able to be a competitor. But the work that his uncle Tony has done on that part from very young.
Yeah.
So it was really outstanding because it made the ultimate warrior. So and that you do when you start. You don't do it later. So his uncle was a player, and he studied a lot. He liked to read a lot, and he understood that part, that mental part, was as workable when he was little. Than you didn't need to wait until he's 18 to start working on that.
You talked a little bit about yesterday about being coachable, which I think was really interesting. Would you say that Rafa was really coachable?
For me, from the players that I've seen, he's the most coachable player that I've seen.
Okay, and
I don't
how
know-
could you see? How did you see that? Like,
Well, because in whatever situation, he will always listen. And you can see the connection that he had with all his people on his bench.
Yeah.
And the way he look at them, and the way that he debrief with them or he talk to them, and the changes that he made when he switched from his uncle to Moya, and I briefly meet him on the court when my time with Davis Cup, and he was a player that whatever you tell him or he asks, he'll do, because he's totally convinced that he's so he knows he's so strong and so tough, but he has this thing that he'll take whatever to make him even stronger.
Okay.
Because he has like, okay, if I don't do this, maybe I become weaker. So and in some moments in the matches, as everybody, he struggles. So he likes. He has an amazing memory also.
Okay.
So like, for example, he'll remember any shot in any match in a 5-setter, and he'll remember and he'll analyze. So he's his best coach. Since he's on the court, and sometimes in the court you see the things different. When he trusts people from the outside, he really listens a lot to see if he can bring something else to make him stronger for the next match, or for that match, or to try to beat the other guy.
Okay. You also, regarding this topic, yesterday you said that if we talk about creating coachable juniors and players, that you think it would be good to open up for coaching during matches. Can you elaborate and explain why you think so?
Well, tennis is a very challenging sport, so you need to develop technically, which takes years. So compared to other sports that with talent you already go and you play the first day. Soccer, you play the first day. You go to the, like it's just go, and I suppose here in the mountains, the little kids, they put them there, they go down. First day they go down. They fall and so, but they go down. In tennis, the first day you cannot pass the ball on top of the net. So you need the technique, then you need the tactics. So I really believe that it's a so difficult sport, and with that premises, the better you want to become, the more you're gonna listen, the more you're gonna learn, the more you're gonna follow, the more you're gonna try to improve your habits, which is so difficult because to change something you already have brilliant.
It's difficult for me now.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So it's tough. So, and also, you know, the younger players, they have this amazing dream. I want to become. So they really make compromises within themselves to be able to arrive to that dream. But then they start to lose, or they arrive maybe to number one, but then they arrive. So at the moment that that player is settled, he doesn't have that drive anymore to keep improving, to be a number one, but a better number one. He starts to go down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's super important to have that drive.
Yeah.
That Rafa show or Novak shows. It's not Novak is not going to play now just to play.
No, he
wants to still be the best. So and having that is a change maker.
Yeah.
Because that is what gives you fools you for the training, fools you for the matches, to keep grinding, to keep putting balls in, and to don't accept any of the losses. You know?
But do you think then that if a coach could coach during matches, that could help players?
Well, sorry, I went on another path.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, I really believe that the changes that the tour has made in the last years, so on the pro level now coaching is allowed.
Yeah, exactly.
And I really believe that is going to help the tennis because the coaches are going to have to coach properly. So what I don't believe is that in the moment that you need to learn the most, when you are 10, 12, 14, 16, coaching is not allowed. It's in that moment that you really need to know what to do well or not. There is people against it that they say, well, if you coach too much, the player will never develop.
Exactly.
That's not true. For me, that's wrong. Because we want to have the best players possible. So, and it's not about being less or not being able to develop or depend on the coach. I really believe that you playing a sport that you have someone in front that don't want you to do what you want to do, and the more advice and the more knowledge you have in those moments is going to help you to do it better. I think that with the coaching, the tennis will improve. And if the tennis improves, there will be more attention. And if the players are more consistent, the public will learn more. If they play more spectacular, the public will like more, the TV like it more. So at the end, when a player is a disaster and cannot come out from that because he's alone, it's bad for tennis.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
So I'm not saying on the negative side, I'm always on the positive side to improve the tennis.
Yeah.
So if the guy wants to be the best, now they coach him, and then he continue. And so Carlitos is, for example, Carlitos has a big dependence on Juan Carlos on the matches. He watches a lot, he listens a lot. People say, no, he depends too much.
Yeah.
He don't know how to come out from there. No, for me, so Carlitos is so much emotional that having Juan Carlos, it puts him more to be able to play better, and when he plays better, the public loves it.
So you want to get the tennis level
better,
up more or less.
better, and more spectacular and better. And also I think the figure of the coach with all these other guys like Becker or Juan Carlos and they are in the court, they are also part of the show. They are not yet doing it on the communication side. They are not using them so much, but I will use them more for the public, for the TV,
to make a better product.
And to know what they're saying to make that player keep thinking on what he has to think.
Okay, I understand.
And for the coaches, they will improve, and everybody will see, oh my, look, he's tough on him, or he's sweet, or he's funny, or they having, they enjoy
I understand.
And they will lose a bit this big, like secrecy that tennis has that no one knows. This guy's not talk to no one, poor guys there.
I understand. I understand. You were obviously a great player as well. How much does your playing career mean for you now when you're a coach? How much help do you have from that when making the transition to being a great coach? Because I can explain, like when we have seen your sessions on the court now, we said like some of the drills, then you need to have some touch when you're feeding, and I mean, you need to have been an okay player, I think, to be able to feed in some kind of ways. Do you agree?
Well, you need to have a good distance. You need
Yeah.
to have a good understanding of what you want from the players.
Yeah.
So when you have an advantage that you've been doing this so much, you
It
have an
helps.
advantage. Yeah, but there has been coaches that didn't play, that they are very successful, and they don't do this kind of work. So this is something that I do because I like to do, because I've been pushed and so. But the big thing of tennis is that it's very broad, and there is many ways to do the things. There is many types of players. There is many types of training.
Yeah.
And winning or losing is not about the training so much. At the end, it's about these people who has this, like special minds that adapt the situations, again, whatever way they train, and to make it work. And I was put the example for me, a player like when you see the final Djokovic Kyrgios. So Coach Djokovic, hard worker, coachable, on the court. He goes to the final in Wimbledon and he's looking at his bench, he's looking at Goran Ivanisevic all the time. He's very organized, very ordered. And then on the other side you see Kyrgios, no train, no coach in the bench,
Yeah.
and then they facing each other. They go to the tight moment, and then you see someone like Kyrgios who always has made fun of the players that being coach. He's always say that you don't need coach, but then on the most important match of his career, he starts to look at his bench, and he starts to ask what I do. And they don't know what to say because they are no coaches.
They're not used to it, yeah.
And then he starts to blame at them. And it's an emotional reaction because he don't know how to come out from the beast that he has in front, organized, no mistake. So, like in that moment, if Kyrgios for me was more coachable, he had a coach there to help him in that precise moment.
Yeah, I see.
But before that, he made the final, so he didn't need it so much. He didn't need the practice so much. But if physically he was better, if he was most coachable, and so with his tennis, will he beat Novak?
Maybe.
Maybe. Or maybe not.
Yeah,
But I think he'll have a much bigger chance, and he'll show that you need to be coached in those important moments when you play someone that is coached.
I see.
So the other one has an advantage. That's my point. So, and at younger age, I think that the players that come from Europe, that they used to play much more team tennis and for the club and more with a coach, they are more willing to be coached than the ones that, for example, in the US, which you don't play for teams until you are already in college. So the player becomes a much more single-minded, one-way going. More what the people was asking. No, he needs to improve alone, single. But I think that being single at the end, when they play against someone that is used to be more coachable, they have a disadvantage because they are alone on their brain.
It's not really the same thing as you said now, but do you think a player need to be a little egoistic to become a great player?
Well, all of them, the coachable and the non-coachable, they have to have big ego. Because the confidence is number one. It's like when you have, again, going to the jungle and survive. You have to believe that you can hunt. So you have to be a hunter. So you have to believe on what you do. You have to believe on your strengths. You have to believe on what your physicality, that you can last there. And so because if you don't believe in that, when they take you to the edge, they're gonna push you. So you have to believe that they are not gonna push you. Maybe they push you anyway.
Did you have a big ego as a player?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Everybody has.
Everybody has.
Yeah. But ego in a way of belief. Ego on yourself, on being the best that you can be. So it's not an ego like to show it around. There's people who has like they are amazing, humble competitors, but they are incredible believers on themselves. So and because sometimes ego is used in their wrong way. So
see.
it's only thinking in you. No.
Yeah.
Here you have a big egos, big champions that they have incredible teams around them, and it's not only about him.
Yeah.
But when you play, it's only about you.
I
Even
see.
if you coach, it's about you. So you have to believe. You have to try. You know, like I always say, see, feel, trust. So the trust is the ego. The trust is
Okay.
that whatever forehand I'm gonna make,
believe
I'm
in
gonna
myself.
put it in
Yeah.
the corner there.
Yeah.
And in the impossible ball Alcaraz, he goes here, he put it on the corner
Yeah,
there.
I've seen it, yeah.
That's the ego.
That he has such a big belief.
Yeah, it's a belief.
I understand.
Yeah.
I have two more questions, Emilio. At least in Sweden, we have had a picture of the Spanish way of teaching tennis, like a lot of drills, a lot of long drills, a lot of repetitions and stuff. Is that a correct way to say that that's the way Spain have created all good players the last several years?
Well, the drills, they help because you in a drill you repeat in a very proper way, and the drills normally that we do in Spain, they work a lot with the footwork. So when you put the combination of the footwork and hitting the proper space and hitting and moving the hand well, so that you bright in your brain that shot very well, and that allows you to be more consistent, more endurance, more precise, more mentally tough to be able to do that longer than other ones, thanks to the drills, but also thanks to the controls, thanks to the physical, to the physicality. So that a lot of and also thanks to the doing this in practice a lot of times makes you mentally tougher.
So it's a mental practice as well.
Yeah, because you go to play with a Spanish guy, you know that he's not going to give you one ball. Doesn't matter the level.
No.
From the best, he doesn't give you one ball, to the last, doesn't give you one ball. So it doesn't have big technique or very nice, but you know that it's going to be tough.
So is it because of the fitness part and the mental part that you do quite many repetitions?
That helps. Yeah. Everything is a bit. So there is not one thing. You know, the career from a player is 10 years.
Yeah.
So, but if like depends on the type of player. For example, now Carlitos does 1 hour and a half, 1 hour and a half. Myself, Rafa, we like to do 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because we go more. So, but doesn't matter so much what you do, but or how you divide. For example, we in the academy we do 30% drills, 30% controls, 30% match play. So you can do 50 and 20. You know, like doesn't matter so much that. But what is clear is that the type of work that we do and the movement that we do creates like kind of like a way of going behind the ball for the Spanish. That they are all similar.
Yeah.
And that's like kind of like our school, and that makes a difference because we become tougher.
I understand. Yeah.
And then we've been doing this for 40 years. And,
with success.
Now that the last couple of years that youth is changing a bit and we start to live better, and so we need to restart to think if this way of doing is going to have the same results, because now, for example, we are coming out from the top of the wall of number of players. So there's something that is missing.
Do you think it needs to change a little bit?
No, I think that our way of doing it works, but there is not so many people willing to do that.
Okay.
So we have to look what happened, study well, and see why that is happening. Why there is not so many good players as before.
Yeah.
Why they are not coming out from the club so much. What was reduced? The tournaments was reduced. The number of players. Maybe, probably also most of the top coaches. They also dedicate themselves to foreigners.
Yeah.
Because maybe like, so there is a combination of things that we need to, the federation or whoever, they have to analyze to be able to see, to go back to the track that we had.
Yeah. Interesting. Last questions. If you could give yourself one advice when you started out as a coach with the knowledge you have now, what would that be?
Advice to coaches, to
to
players,
yourself,
or to myself?
when you started as a coach, because now you obviously know more than when you started. Is there something you feel like you maybe did wrong during the way that you know now?
Well, I think you become who you become thanks to the mistakes and the failures or whatever you think, and whatever happens, so that makes you improve. So,
Yeah.
what we were talking about, the player to want it to become better, is also applicable to the rest in your life.
Yeah.
So if you want to become a coach, you really need to improve in what the coach needs to be able to really be there. For a player like me, the most difficult part to become a coach is that you have to go to you are used to be on the first row, and then suddenly you have to go on the second row.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
and then you have to do everything. It's not about you, it's about
Someone else.
the other person.
Yeah.
So, and that's a fight that you need to have a conversation within yourself.
Okay.
That many of the players that they try, they don't succeed because of that, because they are not.
So you need to put your ego aside.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
So what you build up,
Yeah.
you need to downgrade in some way. It's important to still have it because the player also wants someone with confidence.
Yeah.
So you cannot go back and not have confidence because you're gonna have, the biggest and most difficult part of the coach is that, they hire you to tell a big ego guy what he don't wanna listen.
Yeah.
So you need to find ways to say those things for him to take that as a lesson to learn, and not as a criticize.
Yeah.
A critic.
Yeah.
So that's a combination of arriving to the person in a proper way to turn very difficult and very adversity moments in moments of learning.
Yeah. I see.
To be able to beat those barriers that the player has. And since you had those probably similar situations and you had passed through those barriers, you can put yourself in the skin of the player, and I think that you can have an extra way of saying the things
Yeah.
with the experience that you had or how they told you the things.
Yeah. So when you became a coach, could you then feel like, in some situation, like, oh, maybe when I was a player, maybe I was not so easy here, or maybe I was not coachable in this situation.
Yeah, you learn on those things.
Yeah.
You learn what we are saying, or say why I didn't find a way to, for example, when you started, I was going up and then I was going down, and I had a problem in my shoulder, and then I was supposed to have surgery, but it was gonna take more than a year.
Yeah.
So in that moment, I say, why I quit then, and I didn't reinvent myself or change coach. Maybe I make my career 5 years longer. Some things like that. So then you have your experience. You've seen many other players on those situations. So that builds up a base, a foundation to be able to share with your player in difficult moments, with bad injuries, with bad losses, with wrong moments in the calendar, that doesn't have to do nothing with how you coach.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Interesting. It's many parts that is involved. Yeah. Emilio, thank you for taking your time.
Problem. Thank you so much to you and to your people.
Thank you.
Thank
Super.
you.
Nice talking to you, Emilio. Thanks for sharing.